also. Hello. Good morning.
A very good morning to our esteemed panelists, honorable faculty members, and enthusiastic students gathered here this morning. Stephen Covey once described trust as the glue of life. It is a small sentence, but in many ways, it is the entire subject of what we gather to discuss today. With this, on behalf of the Indian Institute of Management, Amritsar, I, Sarthak Bansal, along with Angela Dennis, welcome you all to the 11th Annual HR Conclave, YUKTI. For 11 years now, YUKTI has brought HR practitioners, scholars, and students onto one platform, not merely to discuss policy, but to question the assumptions on which our workplaces are quietly built. This year, we turn our attention to something that never appears in an offer letter, yet decides almost everything about how work actually feels: trust, influence, and the changing employee experience. Shraddha valabhate jnanam tatparah samatendriyah jnanam labhatva param shantim achirinadi gacchati. The one who acts with faith and discipline attains true knowledge, and having attained it, soon finds lasting peace. So, with this, the blessings of Goddess Saraswati, the Goddess of Knowledge, I kindly invite our distinguished panelists and esteemed faculty members to join us on stage to light the lamp and inaugurate this illuminating session.
We will take our guest first. Please come forward. Please. Please come. It's fine. We still have.
We have still. Good. Thank you. Thank you.
invite our Dean of Administration, Dr. Arun Kaushik sir, to share his thoughts with us.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, sir. Really? This much? That's it? Good morning, everybody. Good morning, sir. Esteemed speakers, industry leaders, experts, my colleagues, respected professors, invited guests, dear students, ladies and gentlemen, on the behalf of Indian Institute of Management, Amritsar, it is my great pleasure, of course, to welcome you all to YUKTI 2026, the 11th annual HR Conclave. This annual conclave has always become an important platform for our students. As we know, the importance of industry, academia, interactions, dialogues, exchange. Today, on this occasion, the 11th HR Conclave, YUKTI, I'm always looking forward what would be the theme for this conclave. And of course, the theme-wise, if I say the first, as you say, beyond the job description, trust, influence, and changing employee experience. Not maybe as a faculty marketing area, but as an administrator, I can quickly relate this even in my organizations, the kind of environment, the kind of a culture, the kind of a climate we have to create if we want to take our organizations forward. That's very important to us. But before I speak about the theme and the other part of it, let me first of all at the outset convey my warm greetings and best wishes for our director. Due to unavoidable circumstances, official visit to Delhi, to Ministry of Education, he is unable to join us today. He has specifically asked me to extend his sincere apology and wishes for the success of this conclave. Later today, I heard that we are going to talk about one of my favorite theme, which even when I teach AI, you can connect it, by the way, some of you know what, maybe sitting in those sessions, and usually we talk about AI, technology, machine learning, and of course, human. And a very strong, submission sometimes from the students, in fact, that are we going to be replaced by machines and tech and those things? I said, yes. Usually we don't expect that answer, right? I said, yes, if you think you are not going to learn them. That's the only occasion when the pupil can ask you to leave. So learning, in fact, tech, machine, I immediately said, in fact, I can be replaced. I'm very clear about it. You know what? Even in my organizations now, using tech, it's not something option, right? I've been teaching like last more or less 16 years now. When I did my MBA from my university, I was using a projector to make presentations and deliver my presentations. 2007. Later, a couple of years industry experience taught me a lot. I came back to academics, started then making some PowerPoint presentations, of course, using technology in any case. When I was slightly expert kind of a thing, people say, now you have to make it on Zoom because we have COVID. Then I thought that's fine. Let it be this time. You know what? Some Zoom presentations and online teaching. I was okay with that. Immediately, then now people saying it is AI-driven presentations we want. So in any case, by the way, even I can be replaced if I'm not learning. And believe me, I'm learning. I'm learning day by day. I'm learning from you. I'm learning from these kind of interactions and everything. So my dear students, we at IIM Amritsar, we strongly believe that whatever you learn in my classes, in other classes, within the classes, by the way, this is the time when you can confirm that whether things we discuss, we learn, are applicable or not in the industry. And you know, the kind of efforts we make as an institute, by the way, to get our industry experts on board on these occasions. So, once again, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all our distinguished speakers accepting our invitation, sharing their valuable thoughts despite their busy schedules. Your experience, no doubt, and perspectives will enrich today's discussion and inspire our participants. I also congratulate the faculty coordinators, faculty mentors, students organizing committee, because this is all done by the students. My only role was to come, have some snacks and talk about maybe 5 to 10 minutes, not more than that. And then of course learning, you know what, from the industry experts. So everything in terms of organization, it is done by my faculty colleagues, the coordinators, the student organizing committee, everyone involved in the planning of this particular conclave. The dedication and hard work have made this event possible. To our students and participants, I encourage you engage actively, ask thoughtful questions, what you do. At least in the first year, I very much strongly can say that. Second year students are slightly shy. They think they already learned many things. So they are more into placements and those opportunities, but I'm not complaining. I still have some sort of students who are very actively engaged. But please don't lose this opportunity here. It's tough to invite this much of experience. You can just see, look at the profiles. Altogether, we have more than 70 years experience, by the way, on the stage. So now, altogether, I'm not saying one is having 70 years experience, but of course. So please engage actively, ask thoughtful questions, make the most of unique learning opportunity. Once again, I warmly welcome you all to IIM Amritsar. I wish each one of you a stimulating, insightful, productive YUKTI 2026. Thank you, and I wish the conference and
Thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable insights in front of the audience. With great pleasure and enthusiasm, we would like to introduce today's theme for the first panel, Beyond the Job Description, Trust, Influence, and the Changing Employee Experience. The theme looks past the formal architecture of organizations, hierarchies, policies, job description, to examine what actually shapes how work gets done and how people experience it. Today's employees are no longer asking only what their role is. They're asking whether they belong, whether their voice carries weight, and whether the workplace sees them beyond their designation. In response, organizations are rethinking fairness and psychological safety, with HR now central to reading these unspoken dynamics and keeping workplaces transparent. As we move forward, the focus is not just on formal systems, but on the trust and influence that truly determine how people grow, contribute, and stay. And with that, I cordially invite Ms. Kaushiki Mukherjee and Ms. Sara Verghese to present today's theme.
There's a meeting happening right now in a room similar to this, somewhere across the world. One that does not show up on any calendar. It happens in the 2 minutes before the real meeting starts. It happens in the saying that goes, "Hey, you got a second?" It happens when an employee jumps 3 layers of hierarchy to contact somebody they actually trust. None of this is written in the job description. None of this shows up on any organizational chart. Yet, we believe that it is truly essential for any organization to run efficiently. Good morning, I'm Sarah Varghese and this is Koshiki Mukherjee. And what has brought us here today is simple curiosity. Over the past few weeks, we've been studying extensively about something that every single one of us sitting over here has known intuitively. The presence of an invisible layer beneath the formal construct of any organization. Simply put it, what happens beyond the job description. And we sincerely hope that by the end of the session, all of us are able to look at our organizations a bit differently.
Here is something every person in this room maybe already knows, but organizations hardly ever spell out. It's that every organization is actually two organizations. The first appears on paper. It's the policies, the hierarchies, the job descriptions. Basically everything that you would hand over to someone to let them know how the organization runs. The second one doesn't really appear on paper. It's the hidden layer. It lies in the invisible details. The trust, the reputation, the influence. It's what decides whose idea gets heard, who gets trusted, and who gets quietly considered for the job that was never quite advertised. Most organizations spend almost all of their time and energy in designing the first one, but none designing the second. They leave it to chance, to whoever happens to be the most loudest or the most charismatic, or simply lucky enough to sit near the right people. This hidden layer is what we are here to talk about today. But before we go any further, we need to understand what it's built from.
So, while studying the topic, the both of us came across 5 elements that work silently together to uplift any organization from underneath. Number 1 is trust. Trust is the most important currency in any organization. When there is mutual trust amongst employees and between the employee and the organization, coordination flows easily without any policy forcing it. Number 2 is recognition and belonging. Every employee wants to feel valued and not just counted. They want to be seen for more than the monetary benefit they bring to the table. They want to be seen for their potential. Number 3 is manager relations. A manager forms the bridge between the formal and the informal organization. A manager is the first point of contact for any employee. Thus, it is highly imperative that the relationship between the manager and the employee be a positive one in order for the employee to have a good experience. The informal network. It basically consists of the people that the employees can turn to in times of need. It has been stated that an employee will be much likely to land a job through a distant acquaintance and not a close friend. This is because it is through this loosely connected network that the employee is gaining information that they did not already know. That's the informal network at play. And finally, every employee wants career development. They want to grow in potential. And they will only be able to do so when they feel safe enough to admit mistakes and take risks. These are 5 elements and there is one invisible engine. And what happens when this invisible engine runs well or poorly is what is genuinely striking.
We must all be wondering, why does this matter? So let's back this up with some statistics. A study from Gallup states that 94% of the employees say that it's career development and not compensation that would make them stay longer in a company. 78% say that the trust in their organization is what decides whether they stay or leave. Employees with a strong internal network are 92% more likely to stay than the ones without. The number drops to 64%. That's a 28-point gap driven purely by relationships and not job roles or title. So, this hidden layer isn't some soft secondary concern. It's a direct driver of who stays, who leaves, and who thrives in an organization. But, like everything else, when it works against you instead of for you, the damage cuts both ways.
This informal layer creates real friction when not established correctly, and it looks different depending on what side you're standing on. From the employee's perspective, this engagement starts to build when they're not able to connect with those around us. Trust is the most important currency, is what we stated. And once this trust is eroded, it is very difficult to build back to its full strength. And finally, when a well-networked employee leaves, it's not just one empty seat. With them, they've taken the entire network of reliability that ran through them. From the organization's perspective, many managers are promoted for an excellent individual task well done, but not for how they're leading a team. And this gap is clearly visible in the way they deal with the team and the way they deal with their tasks. Lately, there has been an influx of AI tools in the modern workplace, and some employees feel that these tools might replace the relationships that make work feel like home. And finally, a well-written policy will lose all of its credibility if it is not able to match the employee experience on the ground, because fairness in practicality is as important as fairness in written form. These are two sides of the same coin, and one consulting firm has looked at this coin more closely than anybody else.
Deloitte found that 65% of leaders today exercise influence and not just formal authority. Their findings further state that 79% of leaders today feel personally responsible for creating values for their employees, indicating a strong level of ownership at the organization level. Yet, only 27% of the employees feel that progress is actually taking place. This same gap appears in what they term as the experience gap, where 82% of the employees say that they want to feel valued as individuals and not merely as roles, yet 31% feel that progress is actually taking place. They say that by improving employee value proposition, we can increase retention by 30% and decrease turnover by 69%. Their advice to organizations is refreshingly direct. Map influence and not just roles. See who the employees are naturally turning to and give that job and that employee formal recognition and support that they deserve. That's the theory and that's the aspiration. But what happens when this hidden layer experiences a rapid change across an entire organization almost overnight?
Between 2022 and 2024, Meta underwent a major restructuring, one that affected more than 21,000 of its employees. From the business perspective, it was a sound decision. There was a real need to refocus and manage costs. But when you look beyond the major headlines, there was a much deeper and valuable story. Employees did not just have to reshape their roles, they had to rebuild this network of trust. In the aftermath, what Meta did was to embrace something that no severance package or compensation plan could fix on its own. That is, rebuilding this layer of trust from the ground up. This clearly proves that the informal organization is as important as the formal one. And any company that has understood this and invested in rebuilding it has always come out more resilient and strong. Having looked at the data set, the Deloitte model, and the Meta case, there is one question that resonates in our minds. And there are two halves to how we deal with this. There's the organizational half and the employee half.
Sarah and I have thought 4 steps. Design for trust, not just compliance. Policies shouldn't just satisfy legal checklists alone. They should also promote trust, safety, and respect. Second, map and support informal networks, exactly as Deloitte recommends. Find out who the employees are naturally turning to and give them the formal recognition and support that they deserve. Third, coach managers deliberately. Train them in empathy, in psychological safety, the behaviors that genuinely drive engagement rather than compliance checks alone. And lastly, redesign career growth. Shift from static career ladders towards flexible, skill-based work that will actually make opportunities visible and accessible to everyone. So, the responsibility here does not lie solely on the organizations. There is a mirror image of this list, one meant for every single one of us future leaders sitting here individually.
put together. Here's what it means for us as employees and what we can do in order to reshape this informal structure. We must understand that reputation is the most important currency. Much like our credit score, it will precede us into any room, and we must protect it like we would protect any asset that compounds over time. Network with intent. Simply attending a meeting is not networking. We must listen actively, give insights, and form meaningful connections with our colleagues. Trade optics for decision-making hygiene. We must chase sound and honest decisions and not the appearance of competence, because optics will fail, and it is the judgments that we make that will actually help us earn respect. And finally, look beyond the manager's radar. Confining your entire value to one person's point of view will risk you something very important. That is, your value known to one person and invisible to several others that could have opened many doors for you. It is true that the job description will get you in. However, it is your network, your reputation, and your judgment that will actually help you build a career.
So, the next time that you look at an organization chart, we would ask you to remember that it's only the first of the two organizations that we have spoken of today. The second one, the trust, the influence, the reputation, it's at work every single day, whether anyone puts it on chart or not. If there's one thing Sarah and I are sure of after today, it's that the companies that thrive aren't the ones with the best organization chart, but the ones who took out the time to think and design for everything that happens beyond it. Thank you so much for your time and attention.
Thank you so much, Kaushiki and Sarah. Your presentation was informative and stimulating. True leadership is rarely loud. It shows up in the trust someone places in you when no one is watching, in the room you make for others to be heard, and in the quiet confidence that your team can rise without you standing in front of them. The strongest leaders aren't remembered for the authority they held, but for the people they made feel capable. It is now our pleasure to introduce the panel for today's conclave, starting with Miss Vidya Prabhu, Associate Director, Kindred. With over 23 years of rich With over 23 years of professional experience, Ms. Vidya Prabhu leads university relations, transformation, and diversity and inclusion initiatives for digital workplace services business, supporting over 600 clients, a workforce of 6,000 plus, and more than 10 million devices worldwide. Her leadership continues to drive strategic transformation and foster an inclusive, future-focused organizational culture. A distinguished thought leader, Ms. Vidya is a 3-time TEDx speaker whose talks focus on leadership, authenticity, and personal growth. She was also featured in the Oscar-qualifying short film Icons 2024. It was based on women in tech and was invited to its Hollywood screening. She actively champions AI, digital transformation, and women's leadership through organizations such as Women in Cloud, AWS Women in Tech, Google Women Tech Makers, Society of Women Engineers, and CII Indian Women Network, where she leads the AI and digital transformation vertical for Tamil Nadu. Her contributions have earned her numerous accolades, including Women Icon in Digital Transformation Innovation 2026, India's Most Inspiring Women 2026, Women in Excellence 2025, Global Women Leaders Award 2025, and recognition among the top 50 global D&I influencers. Beyond her corporate role, Ms. Vidya mentors students and professionals, addresses over 50,000 students and 20,000 women annually, serves on academic advisory boards, and is an accomplished radio jockey, MC, keynote speaker, and moderator. Would you please join us on the stage, ma'am?
Mr. Tirthankar Rai Chaudhary, Vice President Human Resources, Bennett Coleman and Company Limited. A seasoned HR leader with more than 23 years of experience, Mr. Tirthankar Rai Chaudhary has been at forefront of building high-performing organizations across FMCG, consumer durables, pharmaceuticals and media. At Bennett Coleman and Company Limited, he leads the people agenda for some of India's most influential media brands, including the Times of India, the Economic Times, Times Music and other group companies. An alumnus of Xavier Institute of Social Service Ranchi, Mr. Rai Chaudhary has held key HR leadership roles at Raymond Consumer Care, Nestle India, Dabur India, Kohler India and Bata India. Throughout his career, he has successfully led initiatives in succession planning, leadership development, performance management, organization design, industrial relations, and workforce capability building. At Bennett Coleman and Company Limited, he has played a pivotal role in strengthening organizational capability, optimizing workforce structures, revamping performance and reward system, and building leadership pipelines to support companies' digital transformation strategy. Known for aligning people's strategy with business priorities, Mr. Rai Chaudhary has consistently delivered measurable organizational impact by fostering high-performance cultures, developing future leaders, and enabling sustainable business growth. His extensive leadership experience and strategic perspective make him a respected voice in shaping the future of human capital and organizational excellence. Would you please join us on stage, sir?
Next we have Mr. Yashwendra Patial, CHRO and Head Corporate Affairs, JSW MG Motor India. Since the company's inception, Mr. Yashwendra Patial has been instrumental in shaping its people's strategy and organizational culture, laying the foundation for a high-performance, inclusive and future-ready workplace. Under his leadership, JSW MG Motor India earned the prestigious Great Place to Work certification within just 3 years of commencing operations, reflecting his commitment to creating a culture of trust, innovation, and employee excellence. With over 25 years of rich experience across the automotive, manufacturing, engineering, consumer electronics, and telecommunication sectors, Mr. Patial has held senior HR leadership positions at General Motors, Lava International, Enercon India, and other leading organizations. During his decade-long tenure at General Motors, he led HR transformation initiatives, people services, compensation and benefits, talent management, and plant HR across India. He also played a key role in implementing the global manufacturing system, coaching and driving people excellence standards across manufacturing facilities in India, China, South Korea, South Africa, and Egypt. Mr. Patial holds a master's degree in personnel management from Pune University and is an alumnus of the Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta. Renowned for seamlessly aligning people's strategy with business transformation, he has consistently championed cultures of innovation, inclusion, and operational excellence. His extensive leadership experience across global organizations and his forward-looking perspective on the evolving world of work make him a distinguished voice in shaping the future of human capital and organizational leadership. Would you please join us on the stage, sir?
Next we have Ms. Arshia Singh, Director of Global Compensation, BCG. With over 15 years of global experience in compensation, benefits and total rewards, Ms. Arshia Singh has led reward strategies across APAC, Europe, the Middle East and Africa, overseeing compensation programs spanning 58 countries. Having held leadership roles at BCG and Western Union, she has been instrumental in designing innovative reward frameworks that enable organizations to build high-performing, future-ready workforces. Earlier in her career, she worked as an HR consultant advising organizations on performance management, competency framework, career architecture, and HR policy design. A passionate educator, Ms. Singh has served as a visiting professor at IMT Ghaziabad and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar University, Delhi, mentoring MBA students in compensation and total rewards. Her contribution to the HR profession have earned her several prestigious recognition, including the Oxford University Global Leadership Summit Award, the United Nations WASME Outstanding Leadership in HR Award, the Government of India's Atal Achievement Award, the Economic Times Excellence in People-Centric Reward Leadership Award, recognition among ETHR 40 under 40, and the SHRM HR Top 50 Leaders. She has also been felicitated as a world leader at House of Lords UK and is a sought-after TEDx speaker known for her insights on leadership, rewards, and the future of work. Would you please join us on stage, ma'am? I would like to call Chairperson Student Affairs, Dr. Ananya Syal ma'am, on stage to felicitate our esteemed panelists with a token of appreciation.
Up next we have Ms. Vidya Pradima.
Up next we have Mr. Tirthankar Rai Chaudhary, sir. And finally, Ms. Arshia Singh. Thank you, ma'am. We would like to take forward the course of today's conclave by inviting the panelists for the discussion. I would request Ms. Vidya Prabhu ma'am to take the lead of conclave and commence today's discussion.
Namaskar, Deviya Sajjano. Welcome, good morning, Elorkum, Iniya Kale Vanakkam. These are some of the languages that I know. But I also do know the language of the heart, which is why I think business runs for all of us. And thank you to IM for inviting us. I'm sure it's going to be a great show. And I'm using the term show because the best kind of showmanship that you can do in the corporate world is by doing what is right and doing what is right all the time. And I'm sure each of you in this room is going to do absolutely wonderful things in your life. And we here are just going to talk about some of the things that we have done, the right things sometimes, and the wrong things most of the times, and then learned how to correct it and become better in our career journey. I'm truly happy and very honored to be here among such esteemed co-panelists. Sometimes, it's very difficult when you're thrown into the ocean along with whales, and you're supposed to be the small goldfish, and they say, you know what, go compete with them. So that's what I feel like now. And I have a goldfish memory at that, so you can imagine. Which is why I'm going to refer to my notes in between, because there are some themes and some very valuable questions that the committee came up with, and we'd like to honor that time and effort that was put in. I think there were 3 women in the room who came up with this. If you could please stand up. I met them yesterday. Thank you so much. Big round of applause. They've done a great job in putting together the discussion. Very valuable. Good job, ladies. I see Saraswati in you. Yeah, really nice. Thank you so much. And our compares for today are MCs. The two MCs, relax. It's okay. You are doing a fabulous job already. Yeah, so don't be so worked up. Your heartbeat can be heard to the last row. It's okay. Yeah, chill pill. And the other two ladies, Sarah and Kaushika, please stand up. Amazing job with the presentation that you did. Really love the points. I just want to say, सारे points तो आपने cover कर दिए. अब हम क्या बोलेंगे? But let's see. We're going to try. Okay? Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies. Please be seated. Last but not the least, Samuel, my pal. He's been working with me, with my team, round the clock for the past 2-3 weeks, Samuel. And irrespective of which country I am in, I wouldn't, I've been so, I have, inconsiderate in so many ways that I would suddenly send him a message asking, has this been done? Is this what I have to do? And I think he never falls asleep. He has some kind of worry in him. He never falls asleep. I would send something to him at 4 a.m. in whichever country I was in, and he would respond, whatever be the Indian Standard Time, he would respond to me immediately. So thank you, Sam. You've been an amazing pal. Okay, so the model that we're going to follow is there were about 10 questions that were given to us. And I don't know when was the last time each of us wrote an examination. I haven't written an examination in many, many years. So when I saw a question paper with 10 questions and they said, pick whatever you want and come up with answers, I very conveniently thought that I'm going to have some great speakers with me. So I'm going to ask them the questions and, add whatever I can. But you forget that you walk along, along with whales. So the whales in the morning recommended that let's take top 5 questions that were given and everyone contributes. And by everyone, and I'm taking the liberty of saying this, we'd also like the audience to contribute. If you have something to contribute, please go ahead and contribute. Younger minds really work a little faster than all of just me. I don't want to talk about the others, at least better than me. Okay? And Gen Z, jet set ho jao, jaagte raho, so that you all can learn a little bit. It's really cool to meet Gen Z. I absolutely love engaging with you guys because you all are the most complex set of people and the most beautiful minds that you have. We're going to try and do some justice to the time that you've given to us. Everyone's ready?
Yes.
Wow, I really like that. We'll try that again. Everyone's ready?
Yes.
I love you guys. Okay. So the first one and the subtopic or the subtitle was work on new terms. Okay, I have eyesight issues, so I need to keep it like that now. Work on new terms. And maybe I'll start with Arsha, if you're okay with that. Arsha, the question goes, how should organizations respond as employees rethink growth, feedback, flexibility, recognition, and the role of work in their lives? So that's a lot of adverbs and adjectives. I'll repeat that. Growth, feedback, flexibility, recognition, and the role of work in their lives. Thank you. Working? Yes.
Firstly,
Working. Well, do you want to try this?
Thank you. So firstly, good morning. You guys are also spending your Saturday and investing in us, and we're acutely aware of that. And as we were discussing, hope to do justice. I might need to request you to repeat the question, just because this is from the perspective of an organization or an employee.
Yeah, how do organizations respond with reference to flexibility and so on in the role of employees' life?
Yeah. So I'll give a bit of a macro view, and I'm also very aware that we've got far more wealth of experience on the dais. There's a lot of change in the world today, and I don't want to repeat what you might have already been tired of hearing, whether it's geopolitics, changing social norms, the 5th industrial revolution, tech is the biggest disruptor, things like that. So in my view, work is changing more than organizations or more than people are being able to keep pace with. So the way businesses are expecting work to be done, the pace of that is far beyond most of us can currently keep pace with right now. in terms of it's a heavy question just by virtue of all the dots that it would need to join, and you covered that, Sarah and Kaushika, in your wheel, is that we're all thinking about a flatter structure. We're all thinking about channels of communication being faster, quicker, removing the bottlenecks, just because businesses have to move at a very dynamic pace now. You don't have the luxury of going through multiple layers of approvals and then kind of losing pace. So that's what people are thinking about. But the consciousness that today in the C-suite, you still have leaders who have grown through positive reinforcement of command and control. It is a multi-generational workforce today. And we understand, everybody understands the pace that's needed. How to make it happen is something that people are consciously, in my view, trying to do, but it's not easy. It's not easy because for all the right or wrong reasons, the world in general, not just organizations, have been bucketed into these neat little boxes driven by labels. Whether it's labels of gender, whether it's labels of seniority, whether it's labels of nationality. And it's easy, right? Because it helps make sense of things. If I'm a director today, why would I want to let go of that title? I work very hard for it, and sure, I want to be a director in global compensation. It reflects who I am. What's happening today, I feel, is if we were, and we do this in consulting, in BCG, because in the consulting track, we're meant to be generalists. We're meant to hire people who are thrown into different industries, different practices, different topic areas, or working on them parallelly. This whole perception of, let's go to the experts, let's go to the experts. You don't know what you don't know. So the tendency to not go to a financial analyst for a marketing campaign has been the reality. But the beauty in the unlock, as soon as you discard those labels and say, let's open it up. Let's ask everyone. Let's ask the graduate trainee who has just joined what would resonate. And we've done that. And the beauty in that is it's such a major unlock. I've seen it happen live. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. Now, why is it tough? It's tough because it's a mindset shift. It's also us as leaders or our leaders having to accept and let go of control. Accept that I'm not an AI black belt. Why can't the AI black belt who just has 2 years of experience be in the boardroom, be part of the journey, be part of the decision making? What you guys are asking us today and challenging us on is, don't tell us what to do. Tell us why you want to do it, why you want us to do it firstly, and why do you want us to do it this way only? And I guess, the coming together of worldly wisdom and experience with this expertise and pace and freshness that you guys bring, there's a lot of beauty in it when done in a very thoughtful way. It might feel like it's very chaotic because now you're saying bring everybody along, the co-creation, bring everybody along, and there is resistance. People will still keep information to themselves, they wouldn't share. But if you kind of break through that, and certain organizations, I like to believe, including my own, are doing that, it takes time, because after you come out of that 5-hour board meeting or that 5-hour workshop, including people from all expertise areas, people who are senior, people who are very new, you might end up landing at that same decision as you started with, that, give me these set of stats in this format. The outcome might be the same. But the beauty is that all those 40 people have been in the room, they've seen the U-turns. They've seen people contradict each other. They've seen people change their opinions. Finally, they understand why they're being told to do what you do. So the risk in being told is the I told you so mindset. As soon as things go wrong, the tendency of I knew this would happen, didn't I tell you? So you're not along in the journey, right? So we've learned that by experience with clients, with others, this whole concept of, so the 3 C's, communicate openly, truly collaborate, and bring everybody as part of the journey and be considerate towards others is what I really boil it down to, but I'm sure everybody else has so much more to add.
Yeah. So I would like to look at this question is that how HR is adopting the changes with respect to career feedback from an employee point of view. But before that. Before that, I would like to talk about the external environment. The another very important thing that HR is also responsible for. Right now, if you see, the product life cycle has significantly reduced. Our average lifespan of a Fortune 500 company have come down from 35 years to 18 years. 90% of the Fortune 500 companies do not exist. What I'm trying to say is that consumer behavior, needs and preferences are changing. Companies who have been able to adapt with the change have been able to sustain, grow and live. And new companies have come. Very, very different companies have come. So they have been able to adopt. Similarly, one HR has to look at the changing taste and preference of the consumer and the customer and build capability. At the same time, HR is also responsible for supporting the change and preferences of our employees, the multi-generational workforce. And that is a significant change the HR has to also adopt. 4 generations, 3 generations, from a Gen Z to a Gen X or a baby boomer is there in the workforce. Their preferences are very different. The Gen Z have lived on abundance. While they have seen that pandemic, their preferences have changed. Their definition of a career has changed. For a Gen X, who focused on career means growing one level after the other, compromising everything, from your lifestyle, everything, grow on your career from your financial stability. Because perhaps when he started his career, he had to build his home, the car, everything. So there's I'm not going to talk about the scarcity mindset and the abundance mindset, that is definitely there. Because we also need to look at the context from where the Gen Z, the Gen X have grown. And what has happened is that they have compromised everything to ensure that the family is fine, the financial stability they bring in. But what has happened is that the Gen Zs, the abundance mindset is there. What they are talking about, career, the definition is changed. Career sustainability. Career sustainability talks about another data, before I get into this, another very Gallup data talks about career. Only 18% of the Gen Zs are talking about career growth means horizontal growth and financial rewards. They are talking about career growth as sustainable career, long-term career, where they can focus health, wellness, growth, and meaningful work. What Arsha also said is that they are very, very driven through meaningful work. What is the purpose of the work that I'm doing? How am I making an impact to the work? And that's why the presentation. So the discussion that we started off with, that the JD, I think I can speak about the mic also, that's fine. So what is talking about a JD is only a construct, but the purpose and the meaning is much more meaningful work is something that the Gen Zs are looking at. And so as a result of that, the various dynamics have changed. So HR has to also change the way how you manage the various aspirations of the multi-generational workforce. I'll just give you an example how do we looked at career. When we looked at career, that we decided that it is that the employee has to finalize that they are going to drive their own career, and that depends upon their choices, how they would like it. We came up with a platform called a PACE, which talks about various career opportunities that you can find in that portal. For example, the next role would be X, and you have to identify that, and in order to achieve that, what is the IDP that automatically becomes development plan through a psychometric test. So what happens is that you give an opportunity the choice of how would you go in that organization, and as a result of he or she drives the conversation with the employee. So these are choices that you are giving. It is a flexibility that you are bringing. Similarly, in terms of the reward and compensation, it is various compensation opportunities. Very recently, also as a part of the organization, we do a lot of barter deals. We are an organization where we also do a lot of advertisement. What we have also done as a part of total rewards, apart from compensation, we also take barter deals. Some of them we take money, and some of them deals. For example, we have deals with various airline companies, health and wellness companies, lifestyle companies. We give these opportunities for people to avail it. So people across generations, they feel what is their priority they would like to take. They would like to go for a health or wellness, or a lifestyle, or some eating out opportunities, or some vacation. So it depends upon the absolutely need of the employee. And we talk about around 10% of their total compensation. We give this as a barter deals, where basis their requirement, they opt for it. And that's a part of the total compensation that we talk about. So what I'm telling is that the changes dimension is huge. How an organization in HR works, both from a consumer point of view. See, HR is no more that it is only supporting the employees. HR is supporting finally the changes that is coming up from a change of consumer taste and preference. Because when consumer taste and preferences change, HR has to play a significant role in building the organization capability. When we talk about future skills, or through organization structures, because organization structures help you to build capability. So it is both the side of the changes. The HR is playing a role both from a consumer point of view, customer point of view, and at the same time the employee point of view.
Okay. I really like the way the conversation steered in the beginning and has taken direction towards handling multi-generational employees and what is it that was going to work as a concept. Concepts are always liquid. You can form a concept. When you try to implement it, there could be a change in the concept. So I'm going to ask the audience my first question. If anyone could give me any 3 key takeaway words from what the first 2 panelists mentioned. 3 key takeaway words that you have. Anybody, at random. Yes, someone has raised his hand. Okay, how important adapting to the environment is?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that what you said?
Yes, ma'am.
Super. May I know your name?
I'm Raj Katarmi.
Thank you, Raj. Big round of applause for Raj. Thank you for listening. There's another hand that has gone up. So that's going to be our second key takeaway, and then I have another hand towards the end of the room. I'm so sorry, I said 3. Now I see 7 hands up. Okay, is there someone here on my right? Yes.
we have talked about purpose. That Gen Z are looking for purpose in their work domain.
Okay, that Gen Z requires a purpose and it's purpose that drives the workforce. Okay, last one.
Good morning, my name is Hardik, and I really like the ma'am talked about the multi-generational talent in the boardroom that happened in the current environment, and that trainee is also there and a leader is also there in the same boardroom discussing the company's future.
Super, really like it that everyone's got a role to play in this tribe. Lovely. Thank you very much, audience, and thank you to the panelists for taking that first question so beautifully. I'd like to add just one incident or story. How many of us, and it's a very bad question, does everyone here know Shah Rukh Khan? Anyone who does not know Shah Rukh Khan, please raise your hands and walk out of the room after that, because I feel very offended. No, jokes apart. Does everyone know Shah Rukh Khan here?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. How many of us, before you walked into the room, knew about my organization or you would have heard the term Kindred? Just be open about it, don't worry about it. Mr. Ramakrishnan didn't know? Totally cool. Anyone else? Okay, my friend here from Whirlpool also didn't know. So quite a few people didn't know, no problem at all. I'll do the honors. So I talked about Shah Rukh Khan. Yeah, I'll talk about Vicky Kaushal as well. Does everyone know Vicky Kaushal?
Yes.
Okay, if I go to say a city in my state in Tamil Nadu and talk about Vicky Kaushal, is there a probability that somebody would know him? Very nice. Is there a probability that somebody in Tamil Nadu will know Shah Rukh Khan?
Yes.
Higher probability? Yeah? So Kindrel is like Vicky Kaushal. Okay? We are a spin-off from Shah Rukh Khan, IBM. Okay? So IBM has a legacy of 100 plus years. 100 plus years. And it needs no introduction across the world. Kindrel is an organization that spun off 4 years ago. 90,000 employees from IBM. We were spun off into a whole new organization. Across 66 countries, we have about 90,000 employees. And we are headquartered in New York. And we are the world's #1 infrastructure services provider. Almost all of the most critical, yeah, thank you, you could applaud now. Right? So when we spun off from IBM into a whole new organization, we became the world's #1 startup organization. A startup that started off with 90,000 employees and 5,000 customers and a huge workforce that came with a specific DNA, because the average employee in our organization would have been with the same brand for a very long time. And by very long time, I mean the average could anywhere be between 12 to 15 years in the same organization. I have been with IBM/Kindred. November is going to be my 19th year. So you can imagine, I went from the world's most historic organization, iconic organization, to the world's biggest startup overnight. So that is a huge change that we had to handle. And to do that, the one thing that we tried was, in the C-suite, we have someone who leads the transformation. And she mentioned that let's form a team of maybe 20, 30 people from the organization who volunteer, who come from business and want to drive the cultural transformation in the organization. And we took that up as an activity. So a team of 30 people across all of the countries where Kindrel has employees, we volunteered to become the culture transformation people. And we brought in everything new that the organization wanted to drive because we were a new organization. And that kind of change could have only been driven because we understood that when people come with a certain DNA and want to move towards a new direction, being flat, being focused, and being fast is going to be very important. So those are 3 keywords that we picked up. And then we decided that, okay, we have a lot of people who come with super good knowledge, extreme industry experience, and have been in the same network for a very long time. So how do we add some tarka to it? So we thought, okay, let's bring in some young talent. And that's when we ventured into, university hiring. So before that, we never had an opportunity to bring in freshers into the organization. We took that leap. You can imagine an organization that just spun off, had a lot of responsibility to grow, establish their brand, and scale up from Vicky Kaushal, and we're still working towards becoming Shah Rukh Khan. It's a long journey. But we decided that we're going to take young talent into the organization, and connecting the points that the previous panelists mentioned. When we decided to start working with Gen Z, that's when we realized that you guys are really tough. As cool as you are, they're really tough. Because you need to know the why, the how, the who, and then finally, me. Do you want me to do it? I'll be like, yeah, that's what you're going to do. So Gen Z, as much as you are phenomenally exceptional in the way that you work, in the way that you think, for us to integrate you into the organization, the icebreaker that we had to do is tell everyone in the leadership team that please do not expect young talent to modulate the way they think and work to fit into your Bible. No, sorry. What you need to do is fit yourself into their gameplay. So that's what we did. We tried reverse leadership, we tried reverse mentoring, and we thought that we're going to tell all our leaders, and we did that when you meet the Gen Z, be more Gen Z and less leader. And that, I think, is a code that we cracked and has really worked. And because I picked up university relations as a stretch role for the past 4 years, I've been working extensively with all of the universities and colleges across the country to be able to, and I'm going to use that word, convince young talent to join Kindred, because people didn't know the brand. People didn't know why they should join until they walked in and realized what it was. So it has been an ice-breaking journey for us, but what I want to drive home to you as a message is that if you are not going to change the way you do things, and because most of us work with engineering spaces, only reverse engineering works faster instead of the top-down, bottom-up has worked in our case. That's an example that I'd like to give. Okay. So, Mr. Yashwant, my question to you. So the second one here is about trust. And I remember the term that was mentioned in the presentation, trust is the most important currency. I really like that. I'm going to steal that line from you guys. Okay, so why does trust remain difficult to build despite increasing communication and connectivity in today's world?
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So I think a very important question, and the answer lies in the question itself. Let's look back. We are talking about something has increased and something has decreased. Now that's what comes out. Let's go back to the older generation. I would say rather to the baby boomers. What was the mode of communication, or even to the Gen X? The fastest mode of communication, except for telephones, 20, 30 years back, when telephone was a luxury, you had to file income tax return mandatory if you have a connection, was telegram. And anybody from the Gen Z who's done a telegram at any point of time, not the
Instagram.
Telegram, the telegram. I don't think so. Anybody would have done a telegram. It's now.
Whether they know it or not, that is the question.
So today the and telegrams, there's no guarantee that telegram would land at somebody's place in 24 hours. And today, you think about it, the moment I think about it, I can call somebody, pass on the communication. Then why is trust going out? Trust should rather be more stronger, but that's not happening. The reason is, to a certain extent, communication. If today, a very simple example in real life, if you look at the armed forces, the highest form of trust, or in your language, if you look at Insta, bhai ne bola, karne ka to karne ka. That's what it is in the armed forces. साहब ने बोल दिया करना है मतलब करना है. वहीं से Gen Z में आकर के ये भाई का साहब से भाई बन गया. No questions asked. I'm not saying that should be implemented. No. Questions should be asked because that's the first thing everybody, even our generation, has bbeen taught by our parents. कुछ भी है पूछो, सवाल पूछो. But we start evaluating, is the person giving us some direction? Are those direction right? Because even in this room, with this device in hand, you're a mechanical engineer, you're a civil engineer, electronics, electrical, AI expert, everything, HR, finance, everything is lying out over here. Whatever I'm saying, whatever all the esteemed panelists, your professors are saying, everything is out. But think about it 30 years back. One had to go through those books, read, and only one can understand what it is. You come to know about what is happening out in the world the next day if you are reading newspaper or you are listening to the radio for news. Communication can be instant. Trust will need time to build, but can be broken in a second, step by step. And it's a two-way process. At the organization level also, for the employee also, both the sides. Now, what did we do? If I have to talk about it, MG as a brand, ab Shah Rukh Khan bol rahe the, I would say I would go a generation back. Brand existing for more than 100 years, was in India, left India, re-entering India. Why would somebody trust? And at that very same point of time, certain global leading number 1, number 2, number 3 brands moving out of India and out of India. To build the trust. And coming up with a technology which is completely new. It goes back linking with the employee and the consumer. Now what happens out over here? Normally, a very good data point given that consumer behavior keeps on changing. Consumer brings revenue. INR, dollar, pounds, whatever you may say, they are coming. So business leaders or the CEO will listen to what the sales guy is saying, what the finance guy is saying. But the same change is also happening in the employees. There's Gen X, Y, Gen Z. Burko, aapki bari bhi aayegi. You all have to handle Gen Alpha, Beta. All of these generations, each one of us sitting in this room, currently in the leadership positions, when we were kids, we were also a rebellious generation. The previous generations told the same thing about us. So change is going to happen. How do we make that change more smooth? Is the point. But this, when I bring to the table on the board as an HR expert, insider from the company, nobody pays heed to it. Isse revenue pe farak nahi padega. That's where is rising to the occasion, and that's where the trust factor becomes very important. The board needs to trust you. Have I built across that trust? We did that with the consumers when MG brand was built. New technology, use it. The results say on its own. When we had the employees, when we talk about building trust in the organization. Now, trust doesn't mean blindly trusting, because as HR professionals, we have to ensure that we have all the generations in. So whatever policies we may say, whether the formal policies, informal policies, they should cater to each one of them. And with the experience of the previous generations, how do we indirectly influence it? Influencing is a very important part. That's where the trust builds in. So some of the initiatives and many companies are doing that. Well-being is one of that. Today, when we talk to the Gen Z, what goes behind that is only my mental health, everything. Think about long term. That is the way where the health benefits, the insurance benefits companies are going on increasing. Today, term insurance organizations are offering, making it richer and richer. Why? And you look at, we've got one of the highest term insurance coverages for our employees, and I had this question. And in fact, my CEO at that point of time was questioning me why it can't be increased further. And I had one answer to it. I can value the life of employee double than what the employee values for himself or herself. And I asked a point blank question to him. What's the term insurance plan you're in? He had no answer. He said, no, I have not purchased a term insurance plan. I said, that answers it. You're not valuing your life. You want me to value as an employer? I'm doing that. Ultimately, for even my CEO, I am his employer. I signed his appointment letter. मेरा उन्होंने sign किया बात अलग है. And that is one trust with one shot, I was able to build that trust in him. That he has a point. Now, I'm not talking about misusing. How do I take it forward? Each time when I say something, he'll remember this one piece and he'll not simply rubbish off whatever suggestions I'm giving him. At the same time, even on when we talk about NG, women in manufacturing, automotive industry globally is still hovering single digit. And since the time, last 20 years I've been 20 plus in automotive industry, the target remains that we need to move to double digit. And whom do I have to convince? The first job was to convince people of my generation and my senior generation also, baby boomers also. How do I convince them? By communication? No. I tried, and this was what my CEO, who was of course from the baby boomers generation, but I'll hold meetings here, I will go and tell them. I said, you are instructing. Girls can work on the shop floor. Staff, I said, yes, still we have, because one misconception what we do typically when we talk about gender diversity in an organization, especially manufacturing, people look at only white collar job. If I talk about my organization, white collar, I'm talking about the graduate and above. The count is around, I think 850 people, 850, 900 people. Graduate and above. So engineers, MBAs, chartered accountants. Close to 900. What's my total strength of the organization? In India, I'm talking about only in India, it is 7,000. So 6,000 plus employees are my blue collar workforce, where nobody talks about what's the gender diversity. I said, that's the focus area for me. I was talking like a politician to him, vote bank dekhna. I said, that's the focus area. Now, how do I convince people that girls will be working on the floor? Communication kiya, everybody out of the room. Bol ke gaye, it is not effective. Okay, let's do it. Building trust. And the challenge out, if you probably may not know this, men still go for the technical courses post their 10th, ITIs. Girls don't go for it. Boys go for it, girls don't go for it. I said, we take 12th pass girls. We train them. When a fresh ITI joins, we train this person before the person actually goes for on-the-job training on the floor. There's a classroom session of 21 days for them. So for the girls, we will have same training. Then we send them on-the-job training for another 2 weeks. Let's do a blind test. Okay. The results told within themselves. The girls and blind test we did for heavy machinery equipments like welding, which is an expert job, spot welding. Quality results, the girls were equally good as boys. And then one more thing came. There are heavy machines. I said, we'll go on simply breaking. How will girls operate those weld guns, in fact? I said, how do boys operate? No, strength hoti hai. I said, strength kahan se aati hai? Is your and my strength equal? No, we need minimum 5 feet 6 inches height. Weight should be at least 60 kg, so that the person doesn't sways away with the belt, because they are not lifting the guns. They are all with shackles on. So, okay, we keep a criteria. Girls, we are not expecting 5 feet 6 inches. What is the relaxation we can have? Bargaining, height kam kar di, weight 60 se kam kar diya thoda. They're doing an excellent job. Now, I don't have to go back out on the floor to convince any manager that girls can do this job. Talk about the area. 24/7, we work 3 shifts. Every area, girls are there. So that's how trust is built step by step. If we think, kuch janam gutti hai, nahi. But yes, communication many a times, in fact, acts as a deterrent to trust, because it slowly flows out from communication to over communication. Then a person becomes overconfident. So communication has to be crisp, to the point. And yes, if there are questions, they should be answered. So, adding one more point, job descriptions can be changed and made. Because job descriptions are clear. This is the task to be done. करना है, पहले ये था, ये काम करना है, कर दिया. Trust, you cannot have a job description. I cannot evaluate trust. I trust her 50%. I don't trust her, it means. And trust is also individual specific. I will trust her, he or she may not trust her.
I'm trustworthy, sir.
I'm saying they may have reasons, but I trust her completely. So, and why does that happen? Because of the relationships which we build, informal relationships. She has not given me an opportunity, why should I not trust her? Maybe she would have given them opportunities where they should not trust her. If she doesn't give that opportunity, so rather than putting the onus on somebody else, it comes back to me. Have I given an opportunity to somebody else? Why not to trust me? If I do that, communication will only add it, because remember, somebody else will remind me, oh, wo yaad hai, hua tha. You should not trust her. Said, nahi, with me nothing happened. With you hua hoga. You don't know the background. I trust her. So that's the viewpoint which I have.
Lovely. Thank you, sir. Good answer. Thank you so much. Some amazing examples, and nothing sells well with me than women empowerment. So thank you so much for doing that. Anything that you'd like to add on trust, please?
Yeah, when I heard about this particular topic, and the big loud word is the trust, and Yashwant ji has explained it very well. Onus is on you. But when I was just thinking, and because of our work, we really stopped thinking, and suddenly when I came across this topic, and I looked at all the changes. If you see, consumer behavior changes, product life cycle, brands have changed. But one thing that is the most powerful and bring you power, performance, excellence is about trust. Whether it is people, whether it is brand. But right now, brands are also powerful, performing, delivering, because consumer believes on the brand and have trust, because they are delivering value for them. Similarly, it is equally important for an organization context point of view. All changes have happened, but what HR is anchoring are some of these cultural aspects which remains constant. And trust is one of them. And I was in the morning, I was hearing one podcast, and that's why I've written. An organization which has a very high trust quotient, and a leader who has a very high trust quotient has led to 47% in productivity, increase in productivity, 57% increase in agility, 34% in innovation, and 52% in customer satisfaction. So now it's very important. So and as a result of that, organization is invested, and at the same time, it is both for the organization leadership and also the immediate manager who plays an important role. Leadership plays an important role living the purpose, cultural tenets, values and principle, or to live those on a day-to-day basis. If I do not live those behaviors and the values on a day-to-day basis, it is there only on a pen and paper, and people can see that. So there is a complete disconnect that happens vis-a-vis my overall purpose, values, missions, which we keep on harping across. And leadership, when they actually display it, it actually becomes a part of the culture and acts as a glue for an employee to not only thrive in the organization, but delivers. The second aspect is that how the immediate manager is building the trust and the equation with the employee in terms of how the person is getting treated. How am I creating a sense of inclusion? How am I determining the performance of the person or enabling the person to grow? So the trust is a very, very powerful word, and it is not only from an employee point of view, brand point of view. I'll just give you an example from an organization point from where our purpose is trustworthy content, credible content, and that's why you read our newspaper. I know half of you do not, because but credible content is what is a purpose. And trust to the content is, that's why you pick up a newspaper and read. And for example, our news comes from various sources. And at the end, a big powerful news coming in PT, which can topple the share market, if my source is not trustworthy and I'm going without thinking about it, is what the trust is so very powerful from our organization point of view. Perhaps a news is coming at 10 o'clock, that might topple the share market next day. But I need to have the trust to the person, to the reporter who is bringing the news, and I'm putting it into the... So that is why, in order to build the culture of trust, you also need to create a context around which you will work, the governance around which. It is very important that trust does not, it is the systems and processes which determines behavior. It is not only the values and principles in the pen and paper, but you need to build systems from a governance point of view. If a person is not getting treated well, he or she need to know how I can share my grievances. Perhaps if I share my grievances to my immediate manager, that would not be addressed. But how the various committees and how transparently those committees are working. And when a person raises these sort of points, how that is getting managed in a very transparent and effective manner also builds trust. So from an organization point of view, this is a very, very powerful, and that's why all our governance processes are very, very strongly built in, and any whistleblower is protected. There is a committee which captures the points of the whistleblower, and a separate department is there. So when you weave in, and our product is such that it delivers on the basis of trust, of course, credibility, everything. But at the same time, you need to create an ecosystem of trust where we can continue to sustain and as a culture. And truly speaking, from a culture point of view, I think we have gone through various difficult times where there has been a lot of changes. But what has happened is that because of this very aspect of trust within the organization, we have been able to manage those changes successfully. And truly speaking, we have an attrition about 7.5% or on an average 6%, because people depend on the leadership and the culture and the purpose what we work for.
There's a very, very quick personal experience that I'll share. I'll be quick because, I know there's a lot of wealth that's already been shared. Look, I got campus placed, and I still remember I got campus placed in consulting. This organization was setting up their human capital advisory, and it was a new HCAS team that they were setting up. And the head of HCAS was hired one day after me. So it was absolutely new, fish in the ocean kind of situation. And a week later, I was asked, because obviously he was an ex-KPMG guy, his work was to bring revenue, he had his business targets. I was thrown into the deep to say, okay, now you have to do end-to-end service delivery, you have to go deliver on site. It's a one-member team. So the immense gratitude that I have for that job and learning set aside, 1 week later, I had to travel to Oman, and the head of HCAS fell sick or didn't turn up, and I had to go speak to the CEO. I looked how I looked. I was 23 or whatever, and I had to now kick off. It's this first in-person meeting with the German CEO of a Middle Eastern oil and gas conglomerate, and I'm shitting bricks. Like, I'm nervous like how, right? But you try to fake it till you make it. It's your first job. you go in. Now, as soon as I go in, there are smirks, there are comments, and obviously sometimes in a language that I don't understand. And there was this undertone of, ye bachchi si kya sikhayegi? Like they sent a kid to advise us. Are we not important? I mean, because in consulting, you do tend to get that a lot. And I was very nervous. It was my first job. I somehow managed, a couple of conversations. I excused myself. I went to the washroom. I called a friend. I kind of said, what has happened? I just need to get this right. I have to get it done. This was a senior from college, which also I do want you guys to reflect on. It is these guys who will be your 4 a.m.s. Don't lose this. Digressing a little, but don't lose this. In a state of panic, I called up a senior. He said, don't focus on defending your profile. It is what it is. Own it. Focus on solving their problem. That's what will, you've entered the room, that's what will keep you in the room. There is an equation which I still, true to date, and in BCG, I've almost become a brand ambassador for this equation. Because to me, it's not theory. To me, every single day, whether it's internal stakeholders, external, personal relationships, it's called the trustworthiness equation by David Meister. It's a beautiful equation. It is credibility into reliability, into intimacy, divided by low self-interest. What does it mean? It's very beautifully tying up what all of us have talked about right now. Credibility is nothing but your expertise. You know your job. You have the skill, whether it's tech, whether it's finance, whether it's, you know your domain. You know the business, you know the product. So it's expertise. Reliability, if I've told this person, it'll get done. They'll respond. They're working on it. They've not forgotten about me. Intimacy, build the informal equation. Get to know the person. How many, what do you like to do? Who's in your family? What do you like to eat? What music? Bond. And low self-interest. We're not talking to you just because we want money from you. This whole concept of networking and the flurry of LinkedIn requests that we keep getting, don't reach out only because you want a job. Build an authentic relationship. It's relationships and trust are a two-way street. Be a giver. Eventually it'll come back round, is what I've learned. And so I just wanted to share that because I found it powerful for myself.
Lovely, thank you so much. Big round of applause. So from HR lessons, don't get confused. We are not moving into chemistry, equations, intimacy and all of that. We're still where we are. But I'd like to ask the audience, again, 2 keywords that you want to talk about with reference to trust, and then one person has to give me the equation. Anybody? Please, rise and shine. There's a mic on the way from Mount Everest. Okay, that's right.
Hello panelists, my name is Jashan Garg. What I like was, sir told before, don't do blind trust. That was the keyword for me.
Super, don't trust blindly. Super, Jai Shiv Shankar, thank you so much. Okay, and who else? Someone else wants to try? There are a lot of hands going up.
Hi, my name is Yash Bhosle, and few things that I could grasp was that trust is something that is built step by step, and the equation, trustworthy equation, was credibility into reliability into intimacy by low self-interest.
Super, thank you so much, Yash. I really like it that you're taking notes on a diary. Because generally, even for all of us, notes are in the phone. So I really appreciate that effort. Thank you. Big round of applause for Yash as well. Thank you. So something that I want to share on trust is, unlike everyone else on the stage and the focus on HR, I'm not from HR, I'm from business, right? My work is in business. So I've been doing multiple roles across my career in just IT, but before IT, I have done a lot of different jobs, which are not related to where I am today, but I've been able to, pull along those skills. And somebody yesterday during a conversation asked me how many times have I had to break my career and restart my career. Done it multiple times, trusting that I will be able to, learn, grow, and scale up eventually. I've done a mixed job of roles. I've been a radio jockey. That was my first job. I've been a video jockey. That was my second job. I'm a certified air stewardess, so I worked for airlines. And then I came into IT. I'm not an engineer. I've not done MBA. My graduation and post-graduation lies in psychology. And when I moved into the technological world, I've done various jobs. I was talking to someone last evening, and my core was initially learning and organization development. Then I moved into project management, complex program management, cloud technology delivery, and now digital workplace. So none of this was linked, but someone somewhere trusted that I could pull off something like that and restart. And I've literally restarted every now and then. And that trust, like Sir mentioned, can only be built through action. Yeah, everyone says action speaks louder than words. Trust speaks the loudest in the room. More than actions, more than words. So one thing about a very small incident that I'd like to narrate. So out of the 90,000 employees in Kindle, almost 30,000 are in India. And in Chennai, the location that I work out of, we have 3,000 employees. And the beauty of Kindle that I could quote would be that most of the functions are delivered by leaders who come from business. For example, the university relations that I'm doing is quite relevant to an HR field of work. But it's not an HR team that drives it, it is business that drives it. Similarly, transformation for employees is driven by business. So that's another stretch role that I've taken, which is location transformation. So the transformation and the engagement for all 3,000 employees in Chennai lies with me. Also to do with women initiatives, women-kin initiatives that we do in the organization is also done as a stretch role by someone from business. So this is because we trust that business and the HR function need to really work, not just work together or collaborate. They really need to go shoulder and be like the hand-in-glove relationship. So that trust was something that we built over years, and that's something that we brought along from the previous organization as best practice, that we deliver all of this via business leaders. Okay? And we have a senior vice president who works out of Chennai, and I have known him for maybe 15 plus years already. And there was one point in my time where I was reporting into him, and he was leading one particular cloud technology entire business unit, and I was working for him. And that's how he has known me. He's known me when I was doing project management roles. He was known me when I was just a trainer in the organization. So over years, I think I managed to build trust with him. And the incident that I want to talk to you about is I'm on a phone call in the lobby of my organization, and he's hurrying out and leaving, I think, for a meeting. And we are at the elevator junction, and he says, "Vidya, can I take a moment?" And I say, "Yes, what would you like me to do?" And he just said, "I'm going to announce something tomorrow. I hope you're okay with it. I know you wanted to do this." And I said, I had no clue what he was going to say. I said, "Whatever it is that you're going to announce, I'm in." And he said, "I'm going to announce you as the location transformation leader. So for the next 2 years, that's your stretch role. 3,000 employees work on the transformation engagement, and I'll see you tomorrow." And he just left. That was trust that he had in me, that I could do this. And that was a 30-second conversation near the elevator. And then an email went out saying that I'm going to do this stretch role. But he couldn't have done this unless he would have seen the kind of work that I have done. And for me to be able to build that over 5, 10, 15 plus years that I have known him, for him to trust that I can do that was quite a bit of a task. And without communication, I don't think I could have done that. So my only question to you, before I move on to the last question, everyone in the audience, how many of you would like to work with the same brand for 10 plus years? Please raise your hand. Be genuine, yeah? It's important that you're genuine. The same organization, I'm okay to work 10 plus years. Sure? Okay, please stand up. Not the front row. I'm sure the front row, it's in our DNA. Thank you so much. It's in our DNA. We were born with that. Okay? Beautiful. Big round of applause. I really, really like it. It takes a lot of courage today to say that I'm going to work in the same brand for 10 years. I hold the same question to all of you who are standing. Would you like to use the same brand of perfume for 10 years? Everybody? How many say yes? Please raise your hand. No, only those who are standing. The same brand of perfume I will use for the next 10 years. Thank you so much. You can sit down. Those of you who raised your hands, please sit down. Okay, so those of you who are standing, you're okay to work with the same brand for 10 years, but you would want to change your perfume brand. Did I get that right? What is the frequency? 5 years? 3 years? Would you like to change it in 3 years? Sure? Please sit down. So the others, 2 years? 2 years? Yeah, you're okay to use it for 2 years? Please sit down. We're left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gentlemen. Okay, so how many perfumes do you have to buy? And how frequently? You better be earning a lot of money. Perfume is really expensive. I'll go one by one. What would be the frequency? Go on, you're audible.
So, perfume, that depends on my taste. Like, if I buy one and I like it, I may buy it one more time, but it depends on the situation. Like, if there are many, say, fragrances available, I'll keep on changing it because I want to try everything.
Okay.
And perfumes there are so many variety out there. So I don't want to pick.
You don't want to stick to just one aroma. Yeah?
Yeah.
Is it also hidden with how many people compliment you?
Like that.
Not like that?
No, perfume is personal for me. Like
super. I love that. That's what I want to know. Perfume is a personal choice. So you'd like to experiment, and if there's something good that comes by, you wouldn't mind changing. Yeah? Did I get that right? May I know your name?
Aravind.
Sorry? Aravind. Nandri Aravind. Thank you. Please be seated.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
So, for me personally, as he said...
He stole your answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like... Can?
Yes, please. Sorry.
I like how I smell and I like how I come myself as when I'm standing near a person. So I try, when we go to mall or something, I try various perfumes. And
okay.
If I don't look at the brands, I just look at how it smells to me.
Okay.
And if it touches my psyche, whatever it may be, so I will buy it. Because, so to me, it was never about a brand. It is about how it feels for me at that moment. So I may be a compulsive buyer for the perfume maybe. So that was my take on it.
Lovely. May I know your name?
I'm Nikhil.
I'm sorry?
I'm Nikhil.
I didn't quite get that.
Nikhil.
Yeah. Thank you, Nikhil. Thank you so much. Good answer. It's not about the brand. It's about how it touches my psyche. I love that. Thank you, Nikhil. Please be seated. Yes, quickly.
Actually, Arvind has already given my answer, and as
I request you to hold the mic a little closer.
Okay, is it fine?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Arvind has actually given my answer already, and it's really like a personal choice, and I like to explore things. So yeah, perfume is, same goes for the perfume also.
Okay, so you are explorative, so you'd like to explore and experiment and then pick.
Yes, ma'am.
Super. May I know your name?
Yashwant Jaiswal.
Thank you, Yashwant. Thank you so much. Yes, there are 2 more people. Very quickly, if you could give us your take.
So, adding to what my peers said here, I believe perfume is a single characteristic, but workplace is very dynamic, which can keep us engaged for a longer period of time. So, if I'm in the field which I'm interested in, so I'll be very engaged into that. So that's what I believe.
So that's the difference between why your choice of a workplace and why the choice of a perfume.
Right.
Super. Thank you so much. I like the clarity. Yes. Last but not the least.
Good morning, ma'am. I usually buy once every quarter. It's because I love this.
He's your perfect administrator. Even perfumes go by the quarter. Do you have a budget on that already? No?
It's just I love this, fruity smell. I like to explore different outlets and just explore the samples, and then I usually buy one which I love. So yeah, it's because I love these different smells, fruity smells. So
Thank you. Thank you. May I know your name?
I'm Abhishek.
Abhishek?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Abhishek. I would genuinely like to know how you plan a quarterly budget on a perfume. It's a great approach, good program management skills. Okay, so the reason I asked that question was, when you make choices in your life, whether it's a perfume, whether it's a job, it's a career, or a relationship, you always look at it from a time standpoint. Right? What is time going to mean with reference to my investment in this? And that's what trust is. If you are not ready to invest time in it, not ready to invest efforts, trust is not going to build irrespective of how much you communicate or you over communicate. And it was very rightly mentioned here. And with reference to the examples that were given on trust and the statistics that were presented from a podcast, the one thing that I'd like all of us to remember here is that trust is like a sandwich. What you fill into it is totally up to you. But the bread on either sides of the sandwich is what matters to hold it together. Right? So keep it that way. All right? And I know we have, yes.
Fortunately, I won't say unfortunately, coming from Gen X, which is me, and my name starts with Y, so I'm somewhere between X and Y. See, very important point of trust is please do not make any assumptions on your own. The question was very clear. The first question was on employment. The second question was on perfume. Now an assumption was made somewhere that comparison. The moment you started comparing perfume with employment and started giving justification, that is where the trust breaks. The question was very clear. Perfume. Employment का question खत्म हो गया था. I remember this in life. And the reason why I brought Gen X, Gen Y, this is something what the previous generations keep on doing.
This is from the Doordarshan days. बीच में ट्रांसमिशन चली जाती है.
मैंने Gen X, Gen Y की बात की इसलिए.
The same thing if the person can smell the fruity smell perfume in the workplace, then it is done.
He's just going to stay there with the bread. So whichever organization you go to during your interview, please ensure your room fresheners are fruity smelled. I'm going to stay with you. Okay? Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. So I know we have about 7 minutes left to go. Is it 7 minutes or under? Yeah. 5 minutes? Cool. So I'm not going to take a question, and I did not tell my panelists this. I'm going to do a rapid fire with them. Okay? So I'm going to give you one word, and I would like you to give me one word that strikes you first when you hear that word. Okay? I'm going to give you one word, and I'd like you to give me one word that strikes you when you hear that word.
Don't give me difficult words.
No, not at all. I will not give anyone difficult words. Okay? And I'll start with you if it's okay. So the first word would be employees.
My team.
Okay? Ashia, to you. Same word? No. Women employees.
Sorry?
Women employees.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. I love that. Big round of applause for both those answers. My team and beautiful. To you would be hierarchy. Hierarchy?
Slow.
Love that. Love that. Slow cooked biryani. Nothing beats a good hierarchy. Okay? Career?
Passion.
Super. You can't build a career without passion. Network. Critical. Love that. Okay? And last but not the least, paisa.
Very important.
Nothing beats that. With that, I think we're in time and good to close. Thank you so much, my panelists, for being such wonderful and such cooperative, and I really like to say sportive speakers. I really love that. Big round of applause for them, please. Thank you to the audience as well.
I do want to thank you for a wonderful job you've done. Keeping not just us but the students on their toes, appreciating everybody, asking everybody by name, making it wonderful and personal. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I've never done. At least also the last row also.
Yes. Surprises are that children still take notes. I've never seen, my son goes to first year in college. I've never seen him touch a notebook. I'm going to say this to him. Yeah. But thank you guys.
We extend our heartfelt gratitude to our dignitaries for enriching this session with their valuable expertise and wisdom, making it truly enlightening for our students. Now we would like to call the Ritvi Club coordinators for an open dialogue discussion with the panelists.
Okay, so thank you everybody for joining us today. Starting on a light note, and also my first question would be to Vidya ma'am. Just like you had a rapid fire round with your colleagues here, I have a similar question. If you had to define leadership in one word today, what would it be?
Cool. To me, leadership has to be cool. If you're not cool and you're hot-headed, you're not going to sell anything to your employees or people outside. Cool is the one word that I think is leadership to me.
So, Vidya ma'am started off the conversation mentioning that failures are a part of leadership. And on that note, I would like to ask a question to Thankar sir. Would you share with us any leadership lesson that you've learned the hard way and you would want us to learn from your experience?
It's like they're interviewing. Thank you very much.
See, leadership. See, we learn from different experiences. I would like to share a decision which I took and what is the big learning that happened. So when I joined Raymond Consumer Care, the organization was supposed to grow at a 25-30%. It's the FMCG organization, RK, BO sprays and other portfolio being there. So in order to grow the organization, I started hiring a lot of people from good brands, like from Marico, Dabur, and not the A plus, but the A minus companies. And I started paying very well to these people. My organization was not mature enough at that point in time. When I talk about maturity, I talk about from a culture, my ecosystem, vendor maturity, my workplace, market maturity, systems, processes. So while we are scaling up very fast, what I assumed is that best of people from other companies will help me to implement systems and processes and enable me to grow. But what happened is that in 1 year time, I found all of these people left. Why is that? Because the majority of these people, the expectation, while I gave them higher responsibility, job, salary, but what happened is that my organization was not mature enough to accommodate these sort of a capability. And these people were not getting the satisfaction because of the maturity, not only from the organization systems and processes, but from the vendor ecosystem, overall external factors also. So the biggest it is when you have to take a decision, you have to take the culture, systems and processes also into consideration. And that is why it is important. It is not the best of talent is important. What talent that fits in your ecosystem, the fit for purpose talent is important, who will help you to grow and stay with you for a long term and help you to bring about sustainable growth. So that was a big learning that I later on understood what sort of talent would be successful in the organization. I understood the entire talent who has been successful and see that what is in it that they bring. And then I completely changed the recruitment and profiling. So that was and I wasted a lot of time. Yeah, that was
Thank you so much, sir. It's talent management 101 for us. It is not just the competency, but also the organizational capability that brings it forward. Thank you so much.
So, thank you so much for your valuable experience. Now, with the attempt to understand the person behind a profession, my question to Yashwinder sir is, beyond the promotions and titles, what has given you the greatest satisfaction in your career?
I always see promotions as an outcome of, it's not something which is an achievement, it's an outcome, byproduct I would rather say. Promotion is a byproduct of what you're doing. And this question points to that very thing, what do I get, what I want, and promotion follows it. It's the learning. It's the learning, and one has to ensure that learning will never happen when the glass is full. There has to be space inside. You need to create that space. You cannot remove the water which is already there in the glass, so you need to make your glass bigger and bigger. And that is something which I did. Few places, of course, coming from the older generation, most of the times, it was my superiors who said, get into this role, no questions asked. Saab ne bola, job rotation, get into IR, got into IR, get into CNB with no understanding of CNB, got into CNB, get into talent management, did that. But certain choices I also took it up. It's not that everything going. But two things which become very important. And it's again the same thing what I was talking about, trust and communication. In a similar fashion. I trusted my boss, he trusted me, and I knew that I've committed mistakes. So he was there standing behind me. Seek Jain. Galti ki hai? The plus point, what I did was I told him, ye galti hogi. So that is one, I would say, relationship, you can say, or expectations which we manage between each other. And beyond promotions, beyond those recognitions, this is something of self-satisfaction that yes, somebody trusted in me and I, in fact, made sure that this person's trust is not me. That got me.
Thank you so much. So my next question is for Arshia ma'am. There are a lot of roles that are glamorized. In case of HR, we see HRBP roles have been glamorized a lot. So if a young professional comes to you and says that I want to get into HRBP roles because the real growth actually happens there, what would your advice be for them? Do you suggest that HRBP roles are the only launchpad to leadership, or is it just another perception or of growth that is oversimplified?
Thanks. Working, right? Yeah. So the short answer, I'll start with a short answer. This is obviously my opinion, is do I believe HRBP is the best launchpad for growth and the only launchpad for growth? Short answer, no. And everybody on the dais are testament to the fact that it's not, right? what would the advice be? See, we've spoken about it in such beautiful ways that all of these choices for your generation, I see you guys doing it very well and actively, is very personal. A lot of us weren't at the driver's seats of our career. It was a mix of going with the flow, seeing where life takes us and things. There's beauty in that. That was our style. What you guys tend to do is you have your lists, you know what you want, you definitely know what you don't want. And it's a marathon, not a sprint. So the fact that people still want to be in the same organization for 10 years, you should know what energizes you, you should know what drains you. HR, BP, look, I'm not trying to be cynical or contrarian in any way. Will this role exist in the same shape and form as it does today? Who knows? We don't know that, right? AI ethicist, that job didn't exist, it does now, right? So just know the skills. My advice would be know the strengths you have that you want to strengthen, know the weaknesses you have that you want to overcome. Be adaptable, be a continuous learner, feel energized with that. Know the culture of the organization, because otherwise you're going to drain out. I'll give you a BCG example. So we are an aggressive culture. We are famous for it. We don't lie about it. People who join us know it's coming with that kind of cost. Certain people thrive in the hustle culture. It's not for certain people, and that's fine. We almost compensate for the lack of a life, but some people want that life. So what is it that you want is what I'd say. What is an HR business partner? I don't think that a reward professional or a talent management professional isn't a business partner. So I was sharing this yesterday evening that in McKinsey, let's say the reward roles are actually part of finance. They're not even in HR. It hits the P&L directly. Talent management, leadership boot camps. My only broader takeaway for HR is I've actually been asked the question, did you really choose HR? Like, back in the day when I passed out of MBA, did you really choose HR? Like, why not finance? Why not marketing? There was a perception back in the day that people who are doing HR are doing it because they couldn't make it into the other courses. For me, right now, I don't feel that there is any function more important than the people team, because the business requirements, the consumer requirements, etc., are changing. You need people to get that work done. People is the biggest cost and the biggest asset to any organization. You need people to get that work done. Now, whether it's a combination of people and an AI augmented workforce, maybe an HR VP tomorrow is actually how do you manage agents? How do you manage AI agents plus humans? Maybe that's the skill. So I don't know what an HR VP job would be by the time you guys pass out. I don't know that. But what I do know is managing the workforce, whether it's a combination of human beings and people, to achieve a business goal is critical. So in whatever work you do in the HR domain, firstly, know that it's absolutely business critical. Understand the business. AI will give you the expertise, right? But the context of that business isn't an open source AI today. So joining the dots of what's happening in the world, what's the macroeconomic situation, what do the consumers want, what is this business trying to achieve, and therefore, so now, what's my story? Make yourself, see, the world will change, tools will change, tech will change, consumer behaviors will change. Make yourself relevant to the organization regardless of the change that's happening. How do you do that? Continuously learn, continuously understand the base. So that would be the only advice I'm able to give. HR VP, I don't know. Like, I'm sure it'll be there in some shape and form, but it might be a little different.
Understood. Thank you, ma'am. This is a very valuable lesson for everybody over here. So, moving on to Teethankar sir. We would like to understand the journey behind, what made you today. So, who has shaped you? Who has shaped you as a leader, and what did they teach you?
So, what I would say is that what shaped me, what I am right now, I think the different exposures I did. First is that when I was in Nestle, I was handling Eastern region. I wanted to go to the factory. And I went to the factory, Goa Bichuri plant, manufacturing sauces and noodle. I never had an IR experience. And I remember that in the month of August I shifted, and December was the first 3 years long-term settlement. And the first discussion, I went to the union, very powerful union. They asked me about one particular demand, I said no. They went for a boycott. I did not have any IR experience. And all black badges boycott because I did not know the context. I said no, I would not give it. It happened good. It got settled in the long-term settlement. And first discussion, I was stammering in front of my leader. But how do I handle where I also handled a contract labor strike for 3 consecutive strikes where I had to beat a RAF, police, all of that. You understand the continuum of challenge that I was managing? A person who was perceived, he is a HR person, bacha hai, would not be able to manage. Managing a huge 3,000, 4,000 contract labor union strike, where I had to get 4 or 5 RAF, 100 bouncers to ensure that the strike is managed. The content of management of this and the best experience, post that going to a corporate role, which I wanted to aspire to. And then I intentionally, from an HRBP, what she said now, it's a diverse exposure that's important. I took a smaller company responsibility, but a change management responsibility. And then here, I'm doing a transformation of a product which can how to keep the product product sustainable from a consumer point of view. So it's a huge transformation that we do. And finally, it is all the transformation that HR is supposed to. So it is actually the different exposures actually help you to be what you are and the different challenges, and also the leadership. Various sort of leader who supports you in the journey. And these sort of a leader actually plays a very, very powerful role. When in a strike, you are telling the IR manager, sir, आप ऊपर में support आप handle कर लो, हम इधर handle कर लेंगे. So what is तू उधर में देख, I am with you. I know that 3,500 people outside, हम इधर handle कर लेंगे. But I say, don't worry, I'm going to manage it from the top. Means the senior management, CEOs and everything. So all of these plays a very important role in terms of shaping one's career.
Thank you so much. So my next question is for Vidya ma'am. We all have defining moments in our life. What was that one career defining moment for you, and what is the sort of decision that you had to take to create that moment for yourself?
Okay, thank you. I thought we had good conversations yesterday and I'd get easy questions. Career defining moment. Could I tweak that a little bit into...
Sure.
Yeah? Okay. So I'm going to talk about another story that I'm going to quickly narrate about a decision, and I'm going to link it to how Sir mentioned about a referred to passion. So I was doing a role of a PMO. I'm not sure how many know, it's Project Management Office, for the delivery center. This was during my IBM days, for the regional delivery center, which was for Chennai. And I was the PMO for the regional delivery center office, which had, I think 5,000 employees at that point in time. And I was, leading the PMO office. And there was a new leader who had come in from Bangalore for the Chennai role. And he was my boss. And I hadn't had the opportunity to interact with him too much. 8:30 in the morning, everything happens near the elevator. Yeah, the elevator space is really important. So 8:30 in the morning, I'm waiting outside the elevator, and I see my boss walk into the elevator space. And I know I have 30 seconds between ground floor and 4th floor, and I'm very sure that he's going to ask me the question, so Vidya, what are you doing? Or what's up? Or what's currently happening? Something like that. Okay, and so in my mind, I've started prepping for an answer the moment I see him walk towards me, and we're waiting for the lift to come. And once the lift arrives and we get inside, he did ask me that question. So Vidya, what's up? What are you doing? And I'm ranting off everything that I'm doing because I know that's my 30 seconds that I get with him. And then he said, okay, so do you want to do something different? Something new? I said, absolutely, anything that you'd want me to drive for you. He said, we have about 10,000 employees who are women here. We have about 6,000 out of 10,000, or maybe my math is wrong, 4,000 women employees out of 10,000 if I'm right, during IBM in Chennai. And he said, why don't you do something for the 4,000 women? The 4th floor has arrived. He didn't wait for my answer. He didn't ask me if it was a yes or a no. And he said, why don't you do something, come up with a plan? I said, okay. By the time I said, okay, he had already walked out. So I go out and I'm thinking now, okay, I've signed up for a project. I have no clue what I'm going to do. I've signed up for something that I haven't done before. I've signed up for something which involves 4,000 women in different stages of their career. And this is something where I can talk about and bring in both influence, leadership, empathy, connectivity, and building career opportunities for women, and building trust and ensuring that they stay with the organization. So that's a lot of weightlifting to do. And mind you, now I'm in my 40s. If somebody tells me today what I'm going to do, I have a very clear picture. This was 18 plus years ago. So at that point in time, I had absolutely no clue what I was going to do. But I walk out and I think, okay, I can't do this alone, for sure. That's the first thing. So I need a team who can pull this off, who can plan, who can implement. So I reached out, used my network, and reached out to women that I knew and asked them, you know what, we have to do something for women. Would you guys mind if we form a team and let's start doing something? They said, okay. Everyone said, okay, let's do this. And we decided we're going to do 5 pillars of XYZ things. We're going to run year-round programs for everyone, and we launched it that particular year on Women's Day. And I invited my manager, and he said, wow, you came up with a plan really quickly. I said, yeah, we have a plan. I'm going to implement it as well. Now, that's where my work for women really started. And that was the turning point that I realized that this is really nice, and I really enjoy it, and I'm very passionate about it. And that's how my, unconscious connect with diversity and inclusion was triggered. Now, so many years down the line, 15, 16 years down the line, I got an opportunity to represent the organization to a conference in the United States for women in cloud as the brand ambassador. And there were about 100 women in the room from different countries, all in the technology space. And there was a team of, I think there were 2 or 3 people, very young, like all of y'all. And they were taking interviews of all the women in the room. And we were asked to go to a room and just share our leadership experience and so on. And I said, okay, I will also do it if you want me to. I went in, I said my bit, I did my bit there. And they were covering the entire conference, right? Throughout the entire 3-hour program. After a year, or maybe after 6 to 8 months of the conference, I get an email that we're inviting you to the Oscars red carpet. Now, to me, that was spam mail. Okay? I thought somebody sent me a spam mail. I'm going to be clever, I'm not going to open that. But I didn't delete it, I just left it in my inbox. After 5 days, the president from Women in Cloud wrote to me stating, why did you not respond to that email? I asked her, the Oscar one? She said, yeah. I'm like, who gets an email talking about Oscars and you getting invited to the red carpet? That's not normal. She said, yeah, you gave an interview, you were part of the conference, the conference was at the interview or the video that was being made was actually for a movie based on women in technology, and 80 hours of footage has been, concised to 8 minutes of short films, and it has made it to the Oscars because it's the first movie that's a short film or a film that's made on women in tech, and you're part of the cast and crew. So now you get to go to the Oscars and be a part of the red carpet. And all of this started because in outside a lift conversation, someone said, why don't you do something for women? So when I started that, if someone would have told me 14, 15 years ago, you do this, and in 15 years you go to the Oscars, I would have said, yeah, सीधे जाइए, right लोगे ना, वहाँ पे एक hospital है, आपको शायद मदद चाहिए. I would have said something like that. But the life-changing moment was that decision that I took in a fraction of a second to say, yes, I will do something. And later realized that this is something that I wanted to do. And I kept doing it out of passion. No rewards, no recognition. It was not part of my job profile. Nobody asked me to continue doing it. Nobody said, do this and something will happen to you. But that's a life-changing moment. And it took me to great places.
Beautiful story, ma'am, and we will remember that it takes saying yes and takes the courage to say yes in the right moments, and those little moments that matter. Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing.
So, moving on to Arshia, ma'am. If you were to complete the sentence, at the end of my career, I hope people remember me as someone who
was at least good, if not great. Be a good human being. Somebody who was honest, had a good heart, and just be a good person. Yeah.
So thank you for joining us for the fireside chat. We are truly thankful for the advice and the stories that came up. With this, we will hand it over to IIC.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ritvi. Now, I would like to open the floor for the questions from the students.
Hello, panelists. My question is that as you guys have worked with multiple countries and across the globe, so what is the core differentiator between Indian workforce and other countries, and how will we close that gap?
So I think if anybody out of us shares this, it will be their personal, because all of us have seen countries and people over there differently. I talk about myself, I've seen from my manufacturing HR lens. And if Arshia has to see, she has seen it from her consulting eyes. If I talk about Vidya, she's seen from multiple eyes, I would say. And same goes for Tirthankar as well. So when I talk about manufacturing eyes, two countries where I've seen, it's in India, a lot of our processes still are driven by something which happened about 100 years back and was there for 200 years. That is the British systems which were established. And we still continue to look into that in the right way. Whereas out in the countries where the Britishers did not have their colonies, their systems are different. People out over there from quite some time have been open to change. Change from two aspects: organizational requirement and my personal requirement as an employee as well. So it's again two-sided. To give a simple example, I was just having a conversation with our last 2 years batches of graduate engineer trainees. And one of the suggestion came up was employees should have the choice to do job rotation on their own. It should not be an organizational requirement. So fair enough, if we do it, how will the organization run? But if I go back to the East, and when I say East, it is China, it is Korea, it is Japan. Employees have no choice. Zero choice. The more west I go, this is what happens, which was the expectation from the fresh engineers. But India lies somewhere in between, which is maintaining the proper balance. Acha lage, bura lage, but we, even during at the time of the Cold War era, this was the country which was maintaining balance. Even in this scenario, we are maintaining that balance. Both have to be taken care of. So, a lot of differences out from country to country, and we are the most adaptable country. And when we say this, it is the young generation, each of the generation, at their own times, were the most adaptable generation in India and abroad. That is why we have so many Indians moving out and very easily adjusting to the requirements out, whether in East, whether in West, or whether in the central part where we are between East and West. So, whatever comes out, the result is very clear. The talent in India will make those adjustments, and the talent of India will make sure that that bridge is made between that. And this talent, the second talent which I referred, is the previous generation talent, which will be at the middle and the senior management level to ensure that this bridge is being made across in a successful way.
Yes, just one thing, and I'm not going to take a divergent angle, but there is no gap that anyone needs to address, right? Every country has exclusive work culture, has exclusive way of how employees work, how they build their career, how they contribute to the organization, everything. So there is no gap that anyone needs to bridge. The only job that we have to do is just collaborate and work. That's all. And that's what all global organizations do. We respect what each country brings in. We take whatever is really cool and best from them and try and adapt whatever is the mean or the median in between. So there is no particular gap that you have to bridge if you're talking about. The only thing that you'll need will be an open mind and a beautiful heart, and then across the globe you'll be able to work. I think that's my take.
Good afternoon, panel. My name is Aditya. So I wanted to ask a question to Yasvinder sir. So sir, as you gave an example about embodying trust between the blue collar jobs while employing female workers. So in this current scenario, how does this topic about trust and influence creates a challenge for the between the blue collar workers?
Can you elaborate between the blue collar workers and the management? You mean, or
I mean, between the management and the blue collar workers, how does trust become a more challenging topic in the current time?
I think the main thing goes on the availability of data. 3 years back, or till the time internet and data was not that greatly available, and you can be seated. To build the trust, the management team, especially, for all the negotiations, and Tirthankar would agree, it was a job role of the core industrial relations team to also ensure that proper training is given to the union leaders to make them aware about what the economic scenario and how it works across. Today they have got all that access. Trust building, in fact, has improved over in the recent times, rather, especially in the blue collar area, because the communication channels have improved. Earlier, the communication channel was very, very structured, very, very hierarchical. Today, that has broken. And that's where that informal organization comes in. To approach me, a person is not required to go through an IR executive, then meet the IR manager, and then come via. And I am roaming in the plant, anybody can come and meet me. Very open. And this is not, I'm not talking about only me. This is across the organizations. So that trust building, the onus lies on management to build that trust over here. If somebody has shared a grievance or an issue, I won't say grievance, an issue, there are either the issue can have a solution or you may not have a solution, but you have to live with it. Important point is feedback to be used. मैं आपकी मदद कर सकता हूँ, मैंने कर दी, वो भी feedback जाना जरूरी है. I have, you brought this concern to me, this has been addressed. I cannot do anything. I mean, right from everybody out in most of the organizations, most of the factories which were built when they were built 20, 30, 40 years back, they were remote. Today, cities might be there around them. So today, whatever new factories are coming out, they are coming out maybe 40, 50 kilometers away from the city. Common grievance, white, blue, everybody. A daily 1.5 hour commute. Right? Even somebody living in Delhi NCR, Mumbai, Bangalore, they travel more than that in terms of time. I cannot pick up the factory and shift it. You have told me, I cannot do anything. Just give that feedback. Trust building is, especially with the blue collar, it is about the feedback. Ensure that feedback is given, it is done. So this is one mantra for building that trust at the blue collar level. Feedback has to be given.
Good afternoon, panelists. So my question is to Mr. Ray Chaudhary. So you spoke about the role of governance when it comes to trust building. And in the more recent times, we have seen a mistrust with the mainstream media. So how do you strike a balance between governance and censorship? And what is the impact that it has on your consumers?
Are you talking more from a content point of view?
Not just content point of view, from the way that the news is presented to the consumers, and there is internal governance that plays a role in that. So from that point of view.
No, we have very clear guideline around which we work. Our focus is, and that's why we continue to remain the most trustworthy news media company over years, and our rating is ahead of BBC. So that is what the consumer is talking about. What we stand for is credible content, and credible content is something. There are a lot of guidelines that we go through. We do not promote a particular individual organization around that. There are guidelines, and there are audits that happens around that. So that's why in order to have these things in place, there are a lot of work that goes behind, and there are complete audits that happens. So this is guidelines we do. So we give, our objective is to share the news in a neutral manner. But what has happened is that since the external, the social media has become very, very strong, we also have to change the shape and the form and got into investigative journalism, which gives you much more insight about the particular news. So that is what we do. And so we are neutral in terms of our approach, in terms of how, and there are guidelines around which we strong.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me well? Esteemed panel, thank you for coming to our college. I'm Poshali Manna from the MSCSM batch. My question is sort of for Tithankar sir. As you were talking about the transparency and the verified news that media provides or newspapers, and nowadays influencers who call them journalists on social media, when they give information that even that is verified, they do have a perspective of their own that is kind of biased, even though they are not supposed to be biased. So how do you keep that biasness or that tinge of your own opinion out of those news, and how as employees can we do that when we are communicating with our peers and our hierarchy? So if you could elaborate on that.
We are talking about influencers. So how do I comment upon the influencers? Can you be a bit more clear about what you're expecting me? What your question is? You're talking about influencers. They have their bias.
Influencers or people like you, not people like you, people who write for the media, who give us the verified news, they have their own opinions. That is sort of tinged in that
it goes through a lot of layers, you know. See, I will explain it to you how the newspaper, how the news comes, right? The first set of news comes at around 11:30, 12 o'clock. What is happening? The first set of filters that happens. We work out on the sources. From 12 o'clock, the second big news meeting happens at around 7:38, where we firm up all the big news. What would be the headlines? Because see, at the same time, we are also making our product much more purposeful. What are the data points that we'll give, which will give you much more in-depth understanding about the particular topic. And then what happens is that after 8 and 9, we go for the desk. Desk people starts writing the content, right? At the same time, we have our digital ones, which we already released. Some of the very, very important news, we keep it for the print, because this side of the business, print is the biggest for BCCL. So it goes through, and finally, there is a complete governance and hierarchy that works. For example, in a TOI, there is a resident editor who is a neutral person who is looking at the content, filtering the content to ensure from a reader point of view. Our most important, we are not an anti-establishment media. We are there to give credible content to my reader and also space for my advertiser. That is what UI stands for. Times of India Group stands for. We will give credible content to my reader and a space for my advertiser. And advertisement is also content, because you get to know what is the offerings there in the market, and you then go for it, right? And also some of the advertisers we do not entertain, which is not in terms of my overall framework. So that is how it works, and that is how the filtration also works. And all of this is tied up with the variable pay of the reporters, the desk people, the errors. All of this is tied up, and that's why we are day after day we continue to be the most credible news organization in India.
Greetings, Thomas. I'm Pavitra. My question is to Vidya ma'am. You mentioned that you like to be a cool leader. I'm sure you would have had a lot of learnings all through your experience. But what were certain unlearnings you did to become this cool leader?
One thing I unlearned, and I continue to try and remove it from my DNA as much as possible, is taking things personal. I think it's the easiest way out. When you look at an issue as a third party, you look at it as a problem, you look at it as something that needs your expertise, needs your solutioning, not a problem that was directed towards you, because of you. Then I think we become cooler faster, because that's what really helped me. Detachment of looking at anything from a business perspective and looking at something as a deliverable has really helped me. And I remember I've always taken this line, I heard it from one of the leaders very earlier in my career, was let's move to action from emotion. And I've always tried to stick to that in situations where business is key. Now, because I'm talking to a forum that's talking about people, I cannot say that emotion is of no value. Emotion is of utmost value. But the only thing that I have learned is that when you are trusted to lead something, then the value that you give to emotion and the value that you give to action has to be, equal, but you also need to know which takes priority when. There are some situations where emotion is going to be absolutely key, go for it. There are some situations where action becomes even more important, hit it. So your gut feel is really important, and that's something that I have learned over time to become a lot more cooler than what I was in the earlier years of my career. And another learning that has really helped me, so that's what I've unlearned, but the one learning that has helped me is that when you do things without an ulterior motive, you really become the leader that everyone wants to be, work with, and work for. So you have to become that leader that people want to work with and work for, but for that, you have to work without ulterior motives, and you have to believe that you need to build a team, build your organization, build an ecosystem. And the last thing on my checklist is always, what is it in it for me? And that has really helped me. So that's what I've learned, that's what I've unlearned.
Thank you to our insightful and engaging panelists for addressing all the questions with such clarity and enthusiasm. Ideas shape the future, and publications preserve those ideas for generations to come. Ekagra, the biannual HR magazine of Ritvi, is one such initiative that celebrates learning and thought leadership in human resources. I quarterly invite Ms. Aarti Jaikumar, Senior Ritvi Club Coordinator, to introduce the latest edition of Ekagra.
Sometimes the most meaningful conversations don't end when the microphones are turned off. They continue in our thoughts, they spark new ideas, and they inspire us to look at familiar questions in entirely new ways. Over the last few hours, we have had the privilege of listening to the leaders who reminded us that future of work is no longer defined by job titles alone. It is shaped by trust, built through influence, and experienced through every interaction that makes people feel valued. At Ritvi, those very conversations inspired us to create something that would outlast today's discussion, something that could be revisited, that makes people feel valued. And that brings us to a moment that is incredibly special to all of us. It is with immense pride and heartfelt gratitude that we present the 12th edition of Ekagra, the biannual magazine of Ritvi, the HR Club of IIM Amritsar. This edition, themed Beyond the Job Description, Trust, Influence, and Changing Employee Experiences, is more than just a magazine. It is a collection of ideas, experiences, reflections, and conversation that explore the evolving role of people and leadership in today's workplace. But behind every page lies a story that readers may never see. Months of brainstorming, countless discussions, late-night conversations, and unwavering commitment to creating something meaningful. All with one goal, to create an edition truly doing the justice to the theme that has shaping to the future of HR. This magazine is not the work of few individuals. It is the result of collective passion, collaboration, and unwavering support of so many people. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to our respected faculty member, Professor Dr. Vartika Datta ma'am, who has been constantly there to guide us, and our seniors who had helped us throughout our journey in helping us and shaping us. Your belief in us made this a vision and a reality. And now it is our privilege to have this edition unveiled by the distinguished leaders whose insightful perspectives has enriched us. We could not think of more fitting way to celebrate this milestone. As our mentor has mentioned in the magazine, if this edition encourages you to ask a better question about the future of work, it will have achieved its purpose. At Hrithvi, we wholeheartedly share that hope. We wish for every reader to close this magazine not just with answers, but with greater curiosity, deeper reflection, and better question. Now I welcome Professor Dr. Vartika ma'am onto the dais to present the first copy of our magazine.
Thank you, Aarti. Thank you to our wonderful panelists as well. You may now take your seat in the audience and continue enjoying the rest of the conclave.
Thank you so much.
We would now like to invite Mr. Aditya Shinde to conclude this conclave.
Good afternoon, respected dignitaries, esteemed faculty members, and fellow students. I, Aditya Shinde, am honored to once again extend a heartfelt welcome to everyone present at the 11th annual HR Conclave, YUKTI. With our first panel's theme, Beyond the Job Description, Trust, Influence, and the Changing Employee Experience, being explored so thoughtfully by our esteemed panelists, we have gained a deeper understanding of what truly shapes today's workplace. We have discovered that organizations are defined not only by formal structures, policies, and job descriptions, but also by the trust that people build, the relationships they nurture, and the influence they create through everyday interactions. Today's discussion reminded us that employee experience extends far beyond assigned roles. It is shaped by recognition, belonging, collaboration, and a shared sense of purpose. The discussion also highlighted the importance of creating workplaces that are transparent, inclusive, responsive, where every individual feels valued and empowered to grow. I take this moment to express our sincere gratitude to all the panelists for sharing their profound knowledge and experiences. I am confident that today's discussions have provided us with plenty to reflect upon, meaningful insights to act upon, and invaluable lessons to carry forward as future professionals and leaders. Let us recapture some of the highlights from today's discussion, starting with Ms. Vidya Prabhu, who shared her valuable insights on a unique journey that has spanned business leadership and multiple career reinventions, bringing with it a distinctive perspective on people and organizations. She reminded us that trust is ultimately built through consistent actions, and over time, those actions speak far louder than words. We also extend our sincere gratitude to her for so thoughtfully moderating today's discussion, guiding the conversation with warmth, depth, and insightful questions, enriching dialogue for all of us. On a lighter note, we also discovered that much like many of us in this room, she's an ardent SRK fan. A reminder that beyond our roles, it is often these shared passions that bring us together. Ma'am, your perspectives highlighted the importance of building trust through authentic leadership and meaningful relationships. offering organizations a roadmap to foster collaboration, engagement, and a positive employee experience. Your thoughtful reflections set the tone for a truly enriching discussion, and we are grateful for the clarity and depth you brought to this panel. Thank you. Following this, Mr. Tirthankar Rai Chaudhary shared his expertise on evolving aspirations of today's workforce and the changing role of HR in responding to them. He highlighted how shifting tastes and preferences, particularly among Gen Z, are redefining the very idea of career sustainability. With a wider range of career opportunities now available more than ever before, he emphasized that organizations must evolve along with people, creating workplaces that are flexible, meaningful, and aligned with changing aspirations. Sir, your inputs presented a compelling perspective on how organizations must move beyond conventional practices to understand the evolving aspirations and expectations of their employees. Your remarks not only provided practical takeaways, but also encouraged us to rethink on how influence shapes workplace experiences. Thank you for such an engaging and insightful session. Next, Mr. Yashwinder Patyal. Sir, you emphasized on the foundations of meaningful leadership and workplace trust. He laid the emphasis on importance of asking questions and continuously evaluating whether we are moving in the right direction. While communication today is instant, he reminded us that trust is built over time and is a two-way lane between organizations and employees. He also highlighted the need to rise to the occasion in building that trust while championing inclusivity by creating opportunities for women not only in white-collar roles but across blue-collar professions too. Sir, your reflections on balancing organizational objectives with empathy, trust, and inclusivity beautifully captured the essence of today's theme. Thank you for sharing such thought-provoking perspectives on creating workplaces where people feel valued, empowered, and inspired to contribute their best. Your eloquence, depth of thought, and clarity have truly elevated this panel. Thank you for your valuable presence. Finally, Ms. Arshia Singh shared her valuable insights on how leadership must evolve alongside rapidly changing organizations. She emphasized the need to prioritize agility over rigid hierarchies, embrace AI with openness rather than resistance, and inspire people by communicating the why behind every decision. She also left us with a simple and yet powerful takeaway with the 3 C's: communication, collaboration, and consideration as the foundation of effective leadership in today's workplace. Ma'am, your perspectives encouraged us to look beyond conventional approaches and appreciate the significance of fostering trust, meaningful influence, and authentic employee experiences in an ever-evolving workplace. Your reflections reinforce the idea that sustainable organizational success is built not merely through policies and processes, but through people who feel empowered, valued, and connected to a shared purpose. Thank you for enriching this discussion with your thoughtful perspectives and for inspiring us to become more empathetic, responsible, and impactful leaders. Your valuable presence has truly made this panel more insightful and memorable. Thank you. On behalf of the entire IIM Amritsar community, I extend my deepest gratitude to all the guest speakers for their invaluable contributions. You have not only broadened our perspectives, but have also inspired us to rethink how trust, influence, and meaningful employee experiences can shape stronger organizations and better leaders. Your insights have undoubtedly set the tone for an enriching and thought-provoking YUKTI 2026. Thank you. You're too humble, ma'am.
No, really nice.
Thank you, Aditya. We now invite you all to enjoy a short yet captivating glimpse of today's event, thoughtfully captured and curated by Media and Public Relations Committee and 50mm, the Photography Club of IIM Amritsar.
Okay, this is off script, but I have to say this. AI is not substituting any of you. You guys are way faster than AI, man. Don't worry about it. You're super good. Really, really nice. I haven't seen any organization or any event that I've been to where, you know, this is faster than Maggie or instant noodles. So you're really, really cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you MPRC and 50mm for capturing the glimpse of today's conclave. Now I would like to request Ms. Dhatri Pathak, Senior IIC Coordinator, to propose the vote of thanks.
On behalf of every individual involved in organizing this conclave, we would like to extend a heartfelt vote of thanks to all of you for making this conclave a resounding success. To our sincere gratitude extends to all of our esteemed industry leaders. Your willingness to share valuable knowledge and experience has enriched us all. We are truly grateful for the profound insights and wisdom you have imparted. To our respected Dean of Administration, Students Affairs Chair, Student Affairs Office, and all the honorable faculty members, we extend our heartfelt gratitude for all your unwavering support and guidance. We are truly fortunate to have you as our mentor. To the IT team, thank you for ensuring the smooth running of the event. Your hard work is appreciated. The success of this conclave owes much to the collaborative effort of the team Ritvi, the HR Club of IIM Amritsar, and the faculty anchor. Thank you so much. We appreciate the efforts of the Placements Committee IIM Amritsar to maintain the necessary decorum at the conclave. We are immensely grateful to Media and Public Relations Committee for their never-ending support. And 50mm, the Photography Club of IIM Amritsar, for beautifully capturing the event. A huge round of applause for the Industry Interaction Committee for making this event a huge success. And finally, to you, the students of IIM Amritsar, thank you for your constant support, patience, and engagement. We are truly grateful for your participation. Once again, thank you everyone for making this conclave such